What is going on, everybody? My name is Dakota, and welcome back to Coda's Cologne. Today, we're going to be talking about 6 summer fragrances that are just the easiest reaches that I probably have in my entire collection. And just like that, we're going to get straight into it. So before we get too far in the video, I'm going to go ahead and apologize now. My voice is extremely hoarse. I'm getting over some crazy seasonal allergy type thing. I'm not 100% sure what happened. I just woke up one day and my voice is absolutely gone. So if I sound a little weird, I'll go ahead and apologize now. This list is in no particular order. They're just kind of ordered how I grabbed them out of my cabinet. So for the first one we're going to start with is going to be Rasasi's Hawas. This fragrance is just a dummy easy reach for me because it has amazing rockstar performance. It's good, it's clean, it's fruity, it's citrusy, and it's fresh, all kind of wrapped up into one. And not for nothing, the price point on this is kind of one of the biggest sellers. Some of the fragrances on this list are going to be really cheap, some's going to be on the more expensive side. I'm going to kind of ramp them up from there. But for this one, what you get when this fragrance gets in the air is a heavy dose of like a fresh aquaticness. You get a little bit of a woodiness, you get a lot of a fruitiness, and you also get a nice little undertone of a citrousness. So this fragrance can be had for about $25 or $30 from most discount sites. That's probably the easiest route that's going to be to get this. And again, one thing I'll circle back to is the performance on this thing is an absolute monster. This thing will last you all day, all night. You can wear this pretty much all year round. It does do better in the summer though, and the reason being is some of the citrus you get off this, some of the freshness, some of the cleanness, when it's real cold and you get cloying, which is why this is such an amazing summer fragrance, because it's rare to find a summer fragrance that smells good that also has knockout performance. But unfortunately, with this fragrance, there is a slight drawback. There is some bad to this fragrance. The bad being how good the performance is. So this fragrance can put off a little bit of a syntheticness, and paired with that performance and how linear this fragrance can be, there is sometimes this fragrance can lead to headaches. This fragrance can get a little bit cloying, and for some people it's just a little bit overwhelming. This is one that you can definitely overspray on. So when you wear this, especially indoors, be a little sparingly with it. Only put 3 or 4 sprays on it first because, like I said, this fragrance is a lot. For as many compliments this fragrance has gotten me, it's gotten me quite a few of, hey, you're being too loud. So with that being said on this fragrance, just be a little mindful. Kind of mind your P's and Q's when you wear this. Kind of know when and situationally when to wear this. But that's going to be the Kickstarter on the list. And again, that's going to be Rasasi's Hawas. Alrighty, so next up on the list is going to be Coach Blue. And also, I'll go ahead and throw in here, you could also substitute this for Coach Black as well. It really just depends on your profile and what kind of palette you prefer. So on this one, when it first gets in the air, you're going to be hit with a nice dose of a citrusness. You're going to get a light airiness, a little bit of aquaticness, a little more of like a fresh woody type of aquatic than like a mineral C note kind of aquatic. There's not going to be like a saltiness or anything like that, but you are going to get like kind of a refreshingness out of it. Much like Versace, the beautiful thing about this fragrance is you can get this fragrance for anywhere from that $25 to $35. This was a tester. A tester just means that it has all the stuff on the back and doesn't come in a normal box. I think I bought this for like 26 bucks. It's probably a little bit more now, but for the range of price you get, for the scent quality that you get, for the profile that you get, just makes this a beautiful summer fragrance. It's not heavy whatsoever. It's light, it's got some citrus to it, it's got some refreshing to it, but the citrus is done to where it's not overbearing. It's not gonna be like a lemon bomb or an orange bomb or anything like that. You just kind of get nice hints of it. But as it dries down, you get a little bit of a warmth, you get a little bit of a woodiness, but it stays very light. This isn't gonna be offensive to anyone at all. You could spray this insanely heavy and the average person is going to absolutely love it. This is one of the more, I would say of the whole list, this is one of the more safer options. Honestly, might be the safest option on the list. This one has an insane mass appeal effect to it. And with a lot of that comes the safe to where you can, like I said, you can wear this anywhere. You can spray heavy, you can spray light. I do recommend spraying just a little bit heavier on this one. That is the drawback to, unfortunately, what is seeming to be some of the Coach fragrances. This one does fall off your skin relatively quickly. I normally only get a few hours out of this, probably 3 or 4 hours, to being honest. But giving the nature of when I'm going to wear this fragrance, it's going to be blazing hot. It's going to be summer. I don't really want a fragrance that's going to last all day and all night sometimes. Like I know with the Rasasi was the complete opposite end of the spectrum. That one is kind of an indoor one for me. It's going to be one that I'm going to wear to work. If I know I'm going to be outside or something like that, I'll probably reach for this one a little bit easier because I know it's going to die off a little bit quickly. It's not going to have that cloyingness. It's not going to have that thickness. It's not going to be heavy at all. And that's part of where this one just shines. You just get a really nice, soft summer feeling kind of fragrance. There's nothing really hard. There's nothing harsh about this at all. And honestly, a lot of people's going to love this. This one will get you compliments. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you could probably substitute this for Coach Black. To me, Coach Black is a very, very, very similar fragrance, except substitute some of the citry freshness for a soapiness, for more of like a linen-y kind of. That's the only reason it didn't make that list, is I like the opening on this one just a little bit more than Coach Black. But honestly, that's 1A, 1B. You could substitute them with each other and nobody's going to hate on them at all. But yeah, that's going to be the second one on the list. Again, that is going to be Coach Blue. Alrighty, and third up on the list is going to be Versace pour Homme. This one is just an absolute easy reach. This one is not going to smell like your typical Versace, especially if you're used to the Aeros line. This one is going to be cleaner. It's going to be a little more linen-y. It's going to have a little bit more of a freshness. It's going to have a little bit of a bitterness, actually, for being a summer fragrance. One thing I'll say that kind of separates this one a little bit from the two that I've spoken about so far, this one has a wonderful florally rose kind of note, then sometimes can come across a little more green than would say fresh. So for this being your traditional like blue fragrance, it does have a little more of like a spring aspect to it, but some of the linen, citrus, kind of mineral vibe that you can get off this, to me, really pushes it into a summer fragrance for me, because for how fresh this is, for how light this is, for how easily this thing just absolutely wants to put in work in the heat, that's kind of what really pushed it there for me. The citrus, the freshness, some of the floral, just smells absolutely amazing. Now, on some people's nose, you do get a little bit of a linen, you do get a little bit of a soap, which is completely fine, because even if this thing smelled like deodorant, if it's 110 degrees outside, I'm still fine just smelling something that smells like deodorant, because that is still going to smell significantly better than sweat and taint and whatever you forgot to take a shower last night. I just want to smell something good. Even when it's hot, it's not hard to smell good, because just like the other two fragrances on this list, this one is sub $40. This is a $40 fragrance all day. It's not that expensive. I know fragrances are a luxury for some. I could be coming off as a little bit of a jackass right now, but I just feel like it's not hard to not stink. And that's kind of the premise of this video a little bit, if I'm being honest, is you can smell good in the summer. I know a lot of people don't like citrus fragrances, but bear with us here. We all got to get through it together. But anyway, yeah, that is going to be the next one on the list. That is going to be Versace's Pour Homme. Alrighty, next up on the list is going to be probably the fragrance that I'm going to be the most excited to try in the blazing heat of summer, and that is going to be Versace Aeros Energy. I went ahead and decided to do the Versace's together. I did say earlier when I was talking about Pour Homme that if you're used to Aeros, you're not really gonna probably like that one. This one having less of an Aeros signature DNA. A lot of people compare this one to an Venice Cologne. I can't disagree. I will say in the deepest parts of the dry down, it does smell similar to that. But one thing that I will say is in the opening, this thing is an absolute Mandarin bomb. You get so much orange and so much lemon out of this that it just feels refreshing, especially on a hot summer day. There's so much stuff to like about this fragrance, unless you don't like the citrus bombs. If you're not someone who loves a heavy dose of bergamot, of mandarin orange, of lemon, I think there's a touch of lime in here even. If you're not someone who just loves that kind of tropical citrus, then you're not gonna like this fragrance. But for me, this is going to be one that I cannot wait to try in the dead heat of summer. My biggest complaint is that it's going to be the dead heat of summer and I'm going to be hot all the time. This fragrance has come down a little bit in price, especially compared to last year. I want to say now that you can start to find this one in the $60 to $70 range. I think in some cases it's still around 80, but even buying this from retail, I think it was 99 or 110. Honestly, pretty good value, especially for the way everything is going. But I think my favorite thing about this fragrance is going to be about halfway through the opening into the dry down. There's about a 2-hour sweet spot where this thing does smell like an overly powered citrus Venice Cologne to me. And when I first wore it, I didn't really get it. I had to kind of go back and wear my Venice Cologne a few times, and I started kind of wearing them together, and maybe that's what blended them together in my head, because when I first started wearing this, I really didn't get that much of a Venice Cologne vibe out of this at all. Where it really starts to come through, like I said, is in the deepest parts of the dry down, when you start to get a little bit of that smokiness that kind of comes in the bottom of this. But all the way through the mid of this, even into the parts of the dry down, you get a little bit of a wood note, you get a dominant citrus note, you're gonna get good rock solid performance, and you're gonna get something that is gonna smell incredibly refreshing, almost like taking a cool sip of water on a summer day. It's kind of what you get off of this. And if you couldn't tell by the bottle, I've decanted a little bit of this out, but I actually wore this thing a lot toward the tail end of summer when it first came out. I think I wore this thing for 3 or 4 days straight. It was something different. It still has a little bit of the Versace DNA in it, but it was so different from what the original Aeros was meant to be that I just kind of kept coming back to this one over and over. And that is honestly the main reason that this summer, Versace Aeros Energy is going to get worn a lot. I may end up picking up a second bottle of it because I feel like this fragrance in time will kind of prove itself to be an underrated fragrance. When it first came out, it was kind of hated on a lot. I really liked it right out of the gate. And even if it does smell like Creed of Venice in the far dry down, that's completely fine too. Creed of Venice is a wonderful fragrance. But that's enough yapping about this one. But yeah, that's going to be number 4 on the list, and that's going to be Versace's Aeros Energy. All right, so these last two that I'm going to go over, I will go ahead and say hands down are my absolute favorite summer fragrances. These two are the easiest dummy reaches I have in my whole collection for when it's hot and when it's summery. And they're a little bit opposite of each other, which I really love that as well. But the one I'm going to talk about first is going to be Dior Homme Cologne. If you know this fragrance, you already know what I'm going to say. In the dead heat of summer, when it is boiling hot outside, this thing is going to smell like an absolute refreshing glass of lemonade. This is going to have a coolness to it. It's almost going to have an iciness to it when you first put it on. In the heat, as this thing performs through the entire day, it's just going to get better and better and better. As you wear it, you're going to get waves of citrus. When it dries down, you're going to get a little bit of a muskiness. You're going to get a little bit of a floralness. You're going to get a little bit of a freshness. And it's going to keep that overwhelming citrousness. I don't even know if that's a word. If I just made that up. Hell, I don't know. But as you wear this whole thing, you're going to be overwhelmed with a lot of that citrus all the way into the dry down. And honestly, the overwhelmingness of it is kind of what I love about it. Because like I said, that fresh twist glass of lemonade just smells so good coming off the skin. And one of the things that I like the most is, especially in the forest parts of the dry down, when some of the floral starts to come out of this, the citrus floral that you get gets a little bit tricky to describe, if I'm being honest, because a lot of that citrusness starts to turn into almost like a woodiness, and some of that floralness can kind of turn this just a little bit green, but that's completely fine. Because as I touched on, in the deeper parts of the dry down of this gets a florally citrus musk, which I want to say on the notes, if I'm not remembering this because I don't have the notes pulled up right off the top of my head, I want to say the notes on this, I think, are just citrus floral and maybe white musk, regular musk. I'm not sure. But that's pretty much exactly what you get. This is an incredibly litter fragrance. The only real difference between the top and the bottom is some of the citrus dies down a little bit. I want to say wallet-wise, this one will cost you between $80 to $90. This one does kind of get more of the more expensive ones, especially for summer fragrances. But for the quality of the fragrance you get, for how good this smells, for how natural this smells, and how amazing this thing performs in heat while keeping such an incredibly natural quality, to me, it's worth every penny. But yeah, if we're just talking have to reach summer fragrance, I cannot make a list without this being on it. This one is arguably one of my absolute favorite summer fragrances, just because of everything goes into it. But yeah, that is going to be Christian Dior Homme Cologne. Alrighty, in the moment you've all been waiting for, my absolute favorite summer fragrance. And if you've stuck around the channel long enough, you already know what I'm going to say. It's going to be Parfums de Marly Sedley. This, to me, is just one of the most perfect summer fragrances you could ever have. This has everything I could ever want out of a summer fragrance. It's got a little bit of citrus. It's very aromatic. It's got a little bit of a woodiness. It's got some spiciness to it. It's got a little bit of floralness to it. And depending on the heat outside, it can smell a little bit more floral one day and a little bit more fresh on another day. It has maybe just like a hair of a linen vibe to it. Really not much at all. There's a little bit of a sweet floralness when it first gets in the air. As it dries down a little bit, it gets a little more woody. The only unfortunate part about this fragrance is going to be the price point. I think the cheapest you can find this fragrance whatsoever is going to be on discounters, and it's about 170 to 180 bucks. That's going to be for 125 mil. I absolutely love this fragrance. I don't know what it is about this fragrance that drew it to me so much, but I was kind of against it when it first released. I was like, nah, I don't really, I can't really see spending the money. And then I got a sample of it. I wore it and just blew my mind. It was one that the first time I wore it, I was like, damn it, I'm going to want one. I don't know what I'm going to do now. And then I wore it again and again. And then 2 weeks later, I had a package show up on the front door, a la Sedley. But just the absolute natural quality this thing has, it does not smell synthetic whatsoever. You get beautiful notes of citrus. It's got some grapefruit in it. The grapefruit mixed with the mint in the opening can give it a little bit of a sharpness, but to me, it's just what pulls it together. Because as it dries down, you get a little more of the wood notes, you get a touch of some vetiver. But as far as summer fragrances go, this one easily my most complimented. And honestly, there's just not really anything not to like about this, except maybe the price point. Because when you look at performance, it's an all-day fragrance. I get 8 or 9 hours out of this, and it smells beautiful all the way through it. To me, this really could be an all-year fragrance. But before I get too far in on Sedley, I do want to touch on another fragrance that I feel like, and I've mentioned on the channel, it smells dangerously close to Sedley. And for me, that is going to be the Mont Blanc Legend Blue. Now, it could be the mint that's on the top of this. It could be some of the ambroxan in the base of this. And it's not a one-to-one. These are not meant to be clones. This one is not cloned after this one. It is just a striking comparison that I found. The first time I wore this, I immediately went, oh damn, that's Sedley. I feel like for that $40 to $50 range is kind of where you can get this one at now, is close enough to where you could kind of justify this over this just a little bit. And honestly, I've worn this one a lot as well. Like I'll wear both of these. This style of DNA for me was absolutely perfect. Everything I look for in a fresh summer fragrance, that's what these two gave me. But I don't want to touch on that one a whole lot. But yeah, Mont Blanc Legend Blue could be not a replacement, but definitely a substitute for Sedley. Like I said, the drawback to this fragrance could start to be availability. I don't know what availability is going to start looking like with some of these fragrances in the next couple coming months. But for right now, about the $180 range, you can still pick this up. But when I talk about my absolute favorite summer fragrance, it will always come back to this one. This is one that I will always do my damnedest to keep a bottle around, probably forever. But yeah, I'm going to get on this. Again, that is Parfums de Marly Sedley. But before I wrap the video up, I did want to do an honorable mention fragrance. This fragrance is discontinued, but if this fragrance was continued, it would easily be up there with Dior Homme Cologne and Sedley. It was one that was first released that I wasn't super in love with. I wore it 2 or 3 times and just absolutely fell in love with it. And that is going to be Chanel's Allure Homme Sport Superleggera. I do not know what it is about this fragrance that just absolutely made me fall in love with this thing, but it's just got so much good qualities that goes into this. It's got some muskiness, it's got some woodiness, it's got a really light citrusness to me that is not overbearing whatsoever. It's very fresh, that kind of dries down in a warm nature, so you get a touch of a warming nature in a summer fragrance. This was arguably to me, this is their best Chanel Allure, if I'm being honest. I think this is the best one. Unfortunately, I think it was already discontinued. I want to say they only did like a 3-month run of this fragrance, and I hope they bring it back as a seasonal option because I will happily buy another bottle. Bottles of this one that I know of is already getting kind of scarce. That's why I didn't put it directly on the list. I just thought I would throw it in as an honorable mention because it's still a new fragrance. This fragrance is less than a year old, which is the crazy part, is this fragrance has not been out for 1 full year. It's already been discontinued and already hard to find. I'm not really sure what the thinking behind that was, but that I'm aware of, Chanel, this sold remarkably well for Chanel. I know both of my local stores that got it sold their whole batch out within a month and then never got any more after that. I just happened to be lucky enough to get a bottle when I did. But I did want to bring this one up as an honorable mention though. And again, that is going to be Chanel Allure Homme Sport Superleggera. Alrighty guys and gals, that is going to get us wrapped up. I did a whole lot of yapping in my first video back in a month. Long story short, I had too much BS going on. Got caught up doing too much stuff, but I'm still going to say, as I say in every single video, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for subscribing, for sticking around, staying tuned. For the few people that emailed me, that reached out, asking if everything was good, genuinely thank y'all. I truly appreciate that you stay into the channel enough, that you care enough as people to reach out and check on stuff like that. So to the few people out there that's done that, sincerely thank you. We are dangerously close to 1,200 subscribers. I'm still going to be doing a 1,200 subscriber giveaway. It's still going to be kind of a build your own, put it in a roulette wheel and see who wins kind of thing. But that is going to be a whole lot of yapping for today. As always, thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you next. Fucked that up, didn't I? Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you next time.